Welcome, food and fitness lovers, to Tina's Ageless Kitchen. I'm Chef Tina Martini. You might know me as the Medicine Chef. Welcome, food and fitness lovers, to Tina's Ageless Kitchen. I'm Chef Tina Martini. You might know me as the Medicine Chef. Now today we're going to create some foods to help you train like a champion. And those of you that know me and are familiar with my background, I've spent a lot of years in the gym. So today we're going to focus on foods that will make you stronger than ever. Now, gluten-free is a really big trend right now. So what I've done to prepare our dessert first are peanut butter chocolate bars. I know you're probably wondering, peanut butter chocolate bars for the gym? You bet. Nothing more perfect for your workout and a recovery after your workout. So what I've done is crunched up some gluten-free cookies, and you use whatever cookies work for you just to make some crumbs for your crust. Now we're going to add some old-fashioned rolled oats to that, and that's going to give us some cholesterol fighting medicine as well. Clean those arteries out. Now we've got the rolled oats and our gluten-free cookies. So yes, this is a gluten-free recipe, although it certainly doesn't have to be. You'll make that call. But remember that gluten-free consumers now spend an average of $100 more per grocery cart. So remember, viewers, you have the power. It's what you choose that they will bring to market. And if we refuse to eat junk, then they won't make it. So you have the power. We're going to use some organic powdered sugar here, again, gluten-free, and we're staying gluten-free with our dessert throughout the show. All right, so we've got our oats, our gluten-free cookie crumbs, and just do those in your food processor. I'm sure you've made cheesecake before. Graham crackers would work beautifully here. So we've got all of this mixed up. We're going to melt some butter to hold it all together. You know, the researchers are saying that butter really is proving to be a longevity food. Real food is real medicine, and we want to remember that. So I'm just going to melt the butter here. We'll switch this out. This is our Bon Marie for our chocolate. So let's go ahead and put some butter here, and that will bind our crust. Now, if you don't want to do butter and you're doing more of a vegan type nutrition program, you could easily use some grapeseed oil or whatever it is that you like to use for a binder. You could even use an egg white here if you wanted to add a little bit more protein. So let's review what we have. We've got our crunched up gluten-free cookie crumbs, and again, biscotti would work here, whatever you like, chefs, and it's up to you. Please don't get nailed down to a recipe. Really try to just use that recipe to stimulate your own creativity in the kitchen. All right, so our butter's melting pretty quickly here. All right, so butter is real food, and it's got calcium and all the things that dairy offers us. But remember, you don't have to use butter. If you'd rather use some kind of grapeseed oil or something of your choice, coconut oil would be terrific here as well. Now, our butter's all melted, so just any kind of binder that works for you. We're going to go ahead and add that to our crumbs. And this is going to be the crust for our bars. All right, let's get that to sit there. And just mix this up. Smelling good. All right, so we've got all the benefits of the gluten-free, so we don't have puffy bellies in the gym, and nobody wants a puffy belly. Now, the gluten thing has to do with the plants being genetically modified. So we want to stay away from that, and one of the ways that we can do that is just to choose organic ingredients, and more we're finding the consumers are doing just that. Organic is bigger than it's ever been, one of the only industries to have a consistent 20% annual growth. So that really tells us that people are seeking more quality and more clean ingredients. All right, so we're all mixed up here with our gluten-free cookie crumbs and our oats, and we've got our organic powdered sugar in here. Again, you could use agave here. Chefs, I just want to stimulate your imagination and your creativity. So you can twist this into any flavors that you like. All right, so let's go ahead and add this to our pan. And we've just lined that with parchment, wax paper, foil, whatever works for you. And then we're just going to press that right down. And this is basically going to make our crust. And it smells delicious in here. So, all right, you can use the bottom of a glass if you want to press this in more firmly, whatever works for you. So that's our crust, just quick as can be. Your kids are going to love this recipe. And now let's move our bain marie forward and add our chocolate, and we'll melt our chocolate for on top. Now remember, we want to keep the bottom of the pan away from the water, chefs. You want to keep some distance so that we're not scorching or overworking the chocolate. So this will just take a few minutes. And this is going to go on top of our crust. Now, if you want to pop this in the refrigerator so it'll firm up, it makes it a little easier to work with. But if you don't have time for that, that's just fine. All right, so just let the chocolate melt. Let's get our rubber scraper here, and I'm just going to scrape that off. And we'll use this to do our chocolate. All right, now what's the benefit of chocolate, chefs? Well, we know that chocolate is loaded with flavonoids. So really, we're looking at something that would help us to possibly prevent strokes, strengthen the vascular system. They're youth-giving. They really help us to burn body fat as well. And now the latest research is telling us that dark chocolate specifically helps us burn belly fat. And who doesn't want to do that? So again, more help for the workout. Now our chocolate is looking really smooth and glossy. And this process is called tempering chocolate. So that way it'll firm up nicely, it'll have a nice gloss to it, because not only do we want our food to be great medicine for our bodies, but we also want it to be delicious as well and beautiful to look at. After all, we do eat with our eyes, don't we, chefs? All right, so we're looking really smooth here. And we're going to go ahead and turn the fire off. You don't need to overwork the chocolate. We want it to be really nice and smooth, and again, to have that beautiful look. I think we're there. And now we're going to add this onto our already made crust. I'm just going to use this because remember, chefs, water is chocolate's #1 enemy. So we don't want any water or any moisture to get in the chocolate. So we just set that there for a moment and get all that over the crust. Now you may find it easy to chill this and then put the chocolate over. Any way that you want to work it is going to be fine. If you're in a hurry, just get it all together. If you have a little bit more time, you can put it in the refrigerator and chill each layer as you go. It makes it look a little prettier as well. All right, so let's just put that over there and we'll get this extra chocolate off and on top of the crust. Looking really great. Doesn't have to be perfect, as we're going to decorate it later. So just go ahead and spread that over. Let's just get that all the way to the edge. All right, so we've got all of the beautiful melted chocolate. And again, I used a combination of semi-sweet and dark. If you want to do just semi-sweet, that's fine. Whatever works for your family and whatever you like, chefs, use your creativity, as I always say. All right, so I've got more melted butter and some chunky peanut butter, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of some smooth peanut butter in, and that'll help just make the peanut butter move a little bit better across the chocolate. It doesn't matter if you get a little chocolate in here. We're going to mix it together anyway, so anything works. Now the peanut butter can be substituted for almond butter if you'd like. And remember, we're working on foods today to help us really meet our maximum performance in the gym. Here's the good news about peanut butter. Yes, it's a great source of protein, but it's also got something called resveratrol in it. Resveratrol has been shown to help us burn body fat and increase longevity. There's lots of good news about resveratrol. So I've got, again, the peanut butter that is chunky and smooth, but you can make your choice. Cashew butter would be great here, chefs, whatever you like to use. Just work this until it's nice and smooth, which it is. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. And remember, when you're making pastry or desserts, you do want to incorporate a little bit of salt just to pick up the flavors. And since we're using unsalted butter and a low sodium peanut butter, I thought just a little pinch of salt would lift that flavor for us. All right, so let's go ahead and kill the heat here. Now, nice and smooth, you can see looking really beautiful. But again, with the chunky, you get just a little bit of a nicer texture. So we're just going to flow that right over our other layers. We've got our crust down with our oats and our gluten-free cookies of your choice. We've got our melted dark and semi-sweet chocolate. And now the smell in here is really beautiful. Okay, so there's our resveratrol. And we'll smooth that right out. Now, chefs, while this is warm, let's go ahead and make a nice crust, or a nice topping, I should say. We've already done our crust. So I'm going to just sprinkle some chips over, and that'll start to melt a little bit in the warm peanut butter and butter. Now remember, coconut oil would work here as well if you're doing more of a vegan nutrition program. And I always like to give a vegan option because we know for a fact that reducing the amount of animal products that we consume only helps us to have better health. A little sprinkling of some coconut. And you could shred it if you want, but again, I like a little more texture. Now, coconut is loaded with lauric acid, and I know you're hearing a lot of words that you're not familiar with, but we can always answer your questions for you. All right, so all of our layers are assembled. We're going to pop this in the refrigerator so it'll firm up. We're going to clean up, and we'll be right back with our avocado grapefruit salad. All right, we're back with our foods to help us train like a champion. And now we're ready to put our avocado and grapefruit salad together. What a bunch of medicine is in this salad. You're going to love it. It's super easy. But first, let me show you a really nice technique to make the grapefruit look even prettier when we go to the plate with the dish. We've already talked about the fact that we eat with our eyes, chefs, so we want to make sure everything looks beautiful. So the first thing we're going to do with our pink grapefruit is just take the ends off, and that way we're going to do a nice clean preparation and get rid of all the pith. Now, the pith in grapefruit and other citrus is loaded with limonene, and limonene does a really great thing where it stops a tumor from being able to set up its own blood supply. So the pith has medicine in it, but there's limonene in the fruit as well. So for this presentation, we just want to kick it up a little bit with a gourmet presentation, and that's why we're going to supreme. So you can see that I'm just taking the white off, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but any little bit that you can get off is good because the pith is a little bitter and we don't want that flavor in our beautiful salad. Now look at the color of this grapefruit, and that tells us that there's lots of phytonutrients in here. Specifically, there's bioflavonoids, limonene that we've already talked about. Of course, vitamin C keeps us young and beautiful. All right, so the pink now shows us that it's high in carotenoids, and that gives us even more ability to fight disease. Now, I'm just going to lift the segments out here, and you need to have a nice sharp knife. What's the most dangerous thing in the kitchen, chefs, besides me? A dull knife, that's right. So we want to make sure that our tools are always nice and sharp. So again, we're going to go all the way around and just lift the segments out, and you can see how beautiful that's going to look on the plate. Now I'm just going to fold these other sections back and hold it with my thumb, and that way we can go all the way around for a nice, beautiful, clean presentation. Now let's just do this quickly. Now let's talk about bioflavonoids. Now you may be wondering about all these weird words you're hearing, but remember they're just phytonutrients along the line of minerals and vitamins. All things that bring us to good health, protect our immune system, help keep our skin youthful, and all of the good things that come with eating real food. Okay, so I'm almost done here. Now, when we get to the end segment, please be careful. Don't try to go here because you have nothing to hold on to. So on this last segment, we're just going to push it into the bowl with our knife, just carefully, and then we can squeeze a little bit of the juice and get rid of that. Now, we've got these gorgeous segments. Let's move this aside. Get rid of all of this. If you need a little extra juice, you can always squeeze out the top and the bottom for a little extra of that grapefruit juice. All right, let's go ahead and make our dressing. So I've got some sherry vinegar here, and any vinegar will do nicely. Champagne vinegar. Stretch out, open up your mind, and use some different ingredients maybe that you haven't used before. Now, Dijon mustard really helps to emulsify the dressing and keep it together for us. I'm going to do just a little salt and pepper, and of course you're always going to do salt and pepper to taste. And we're using a nice kosher salt here, sea salt, Himalayan salt, whatever you like. All right, so we've got some good quality olive oil. Now, oleic acid, really more good medicine here. It keeps us moist and supple. And you know what I always say, chefs, if you don't want to age, stay moist and supple. So we're just going to whisk in a nice stream and bring that dressing together, and boy, does that smell great. Now, if you like shallots or green onions or any of that, that would be perfect in addition here. Whatever flavors you and your family like are going to be the flavors that you choose. All right, look how our dressing has come together. And in the culinary world, that's called emulsification, putting things together that normally wouldn't go together. Now, really creamy, really delicious. And then let's go ahead and clean our avocado. Now, all 18 minerals are here. And remember, chefs, every disease known to man can be traced back to a mineral deficiency on some level. So again, just take your knife. Now, be careful when you're cutting something in your hand. Normally, we don't hold things in our hand that we're cutting, but in this instance and with the grapefruit, we need to do that. Now, again, back to the minerals that are in the avocado, really beautifying for our skin. Now, you can slice it or dice it. I'm just going to choose to run the knife in both directions. And then let's carefully take the seed out. So just hit that with your knife and then loosen that up and move it out. So we'll get rid of that. Again, be careful. And let's just cube that other half. Might as well use the whole avocado. It's looking great. Now, essential fatty acid or good fats are what we find in the avocado. Heart protective, beautiful skin, really kicks up the immune system. All right, so I'm just going to take a spoon and run it around the edge and just take the cubes out. And again, I'm going to mix it all together so it really doesn't matter, you know, if the avocado is perfect at this time. We've got our gorgeous grapefruit segments, and that's going to give us a beautiful finish on the salad. All right, so we get rid of that. We'll put the other avocado. Might as well use the whole thing, huh, chefs? Do not be afraid of the fat in this. It's heart protective, and we're really knowing more and more about the anti-inflammatory benefits of essential fatty acid. And remember, a lot of illnesses like heart disease and things of this nature are directly connected to inflammation. So here is a great way to calm inflammation. It also is really showing promise with depression. Now, we need to season every layer of whatever we're making. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit of salt and pepper in with our avocado and our grapefruit. And then let's add some isothiocyanates, another huge word. What this means is that the radishes that we're using, and we're just using a classic red radish, thinly sliced, what this means is that the radishes, with their isothiocyanates, help the body to create more cancer-fighting enzymes. And enzymes are critical for two things: the immune system, cancer-fighting ability with the cells, and, well, let's say a third thing, really protecting our teeth and our health in general. All right, so we've got all that. I'm using some Bibb lettuce, and I'm just going to mix it right in the bowl here. So I'm going to tear up the leafy greens. Leafy greens are high in calcium. Now, here's the good news. You're putting the leafy greens in the vinaigrette, and the vinaigrette has what? It has acid in it. Now, that's going to maximize your body's ability to uptake the calcium in the leafy greens. So the whole salad works synergistically. We've also got some acid with our grapefruit, don't we? All right, so I'm just going to put that in here. Mix that up a little bit. Tear it into bite size, but don't really destroy the lettuce. You want it to look beautiful. We can toss that in our dressing. mix everything together here with our beautiful segments. All right, so we've got all of our beautiful textures and flavors in the bowl, and those flavors are going to marry over a little bit of time. And we'll be right back with a beautiful macadamia nut crusted mahi mahi. All right, chefs, we're back with the star of the show, and that is a delicious macadamia nut crusted mahi mahi. Now, you'll choose a fish that you like, but the mahi is very meaty and nice for people that really aren't big fish lovers, but they want to get the heart protective benefits of the fish. Now, we've got a triple dose of heart protective medicine here with our entree. Now, we've got the fish that's already been prepared. I skinned it and cleaned the bones out, of course. And then we've got some macadamia nuts that were raw that we ran through the food processor. So you've just got some crunched up macadamia. Now, of course, we want to season and flavor every layer. So let's go ahead and salt and pepper our fish a little bit. And even if you're reducing the salt, you want to use a little bit on the fish just to pick up the flavor. I'm going to brush it with a little bit of olive oil. And again, we've talked about that oleic acid before and all the heart protective benefits that olive oil offers. Now, I get my olive oil from the Umbria region of Italy, and their olive oil, where normally here in the States our olive oil is about 120 polyphenols per serving, a 2-ounce serving basically. This olive oil, 520 polyphenols per serving. So that's really going to boost the immune system and give us a lot of heart protection. Now, here's our ground macadamia, as I mentioned. Now, you certainly can coat the fish all the way around, but I'm just going to make it faster and easier here for you. We'll put it on the sheet pan that's already been prepared, and we're just going to pack a nice little crust of macadamia nuts on top of the fish. Again, if you want to grind your nuts a little bit finer, you can coat the entire fish, but I think this is beautiful for presentation. Now, macadamia nuts, what do we know about nuts and seeds, Chef? Well, Harvard School of Medicine just released a 30-year study. That's right, 30 years. Harvard has been looking at people who eat nuts and seeds as part of a regular part of their diet and have found that the longevity really increases with this kind of cardioprotective fat. Again, essential fatty acids, which we've mentioned before. In our salad, we had the beautiful avocado, and we're using olive oil in 2 different places in our recipes. So you're getting a lot of benefits that are going to keep you moist and supple and that really slow down the aging process. And that's it. Just that simple and fast. Now we're going to pop this in a 325-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes or until the fish is nice and flaky. And we'll be right back to present all of our beautiful Train Like a Champion dishes. All right, chefs, dinner's ready. We've got everything on the plate, and doesn't it look beautiful? We've got our macadamia nut crusted mahi mahi, all of our cardiovascular, heart protective fats here in our fish and our macadamia nuts, our beautiful salad loaded with essential fatty acids, isothiocyanates, build the immune system and fight cancer like nobody's business. We're going to finish up with our peanut butter oat bars, resveratrol, going to help you burn more fat in the gym and make the most of the hard work that you do. Well, that's it for this week in Tina's Ageless Kitchen. I look forward to seeing you next week. We're going to wrap with some words from Henry David Thoreau, one of my favorites, and he was a consummate nature boy. HD told us, "We are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit." I'll see you next week. Here's to your health.